Hey, hello guys, welcome your faces to the 10th tutorial on front-end web development course. Myself, Sam Nijan from Frozen Lakes. Today we are going to see about the CSS Margin property, then the CSS Padding property, and finally the CSS Height and Width. So already I have made this template and have an external CSS like this, and also I have started a server. So you all can see this, right? So coming to our first content, CSS Margin property. Before showing you that, I want to make a div with class box. So just type dot and type the class you want to make. So just box. So it's making a div, right? So we are not going to do anything in this div. Instead, we are coming here and select that div and make a height to 200 px. Right now, let's make it a normal thing, and we will discuss the height and width detailing in the third session of today's tutorial. The same 200 px to get a square image, to get a square box, and let's make the background as blue. I just save it, and coming to our page, we all can see this box, right? It's a blue box with 200 pixel height and 200 pixel width. So coming to a margin property, so type margin and you can type 50 px, so which stands for 50 px of margin in all the sides like top, bottom, right and left. Okay, so I'm just saying it. So when you say this, you can notice that it just slightly moved from here this end to this part. So this is margin. Or else let's have some text over inside this. Let's have some text inside this. Let's say h1 box 1. Okay, so now you can see this box, right? Box 1 inside this. Let's make this color as white to get a better visibility. So we use color to change the color of the text, and let's use Alice blue. That's great. Or else we can choose white. So now it's clearly visible, right? And you have another thing in margin. So like if you want to align for only x-axis, like consider this as your work page, and this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Y and this is the x-axis. So it's a normal thing, as you all know how to draw the graph and what's x-axis in graph and what's y-axis in graph. So it will not be too hard for you all. So if you want to extend only in the x-axis, you have to give margin 0 and give the size. Let's do now. Let's take 100 pixel right now, and I just save it. And coming to our page, now see this become 100% towards left and 100% towards right. So to make you understand better, let me make another div with the same class and change it to box 2. So now you can see it very easily, right? So what if I remove this? It came to the left, right? So now it coming to the right side. So to make you better understand, I have to make another div here. I will teach you this soon, but it's little advanced topic. Okay, so right now I'm not going to make you confused with this. So I'm selecting that class and making the display to flex. Okay, don't get confused with this flex. I will teach you this in the upcoming session. So now we have made this as 100 pixel, right? The x-axis. So now let me change it to 50 pixel. So now you can see the change, right? You can see the 50 pixel space over here in the left side, and here the next 50, and this box left margin to 50 pixel, and also here you can see the same amount of margin on the right side of this box too. Okay, what if you want to make the margin towards y direction? To illustrate that, let me comment this to make the box come in the same plane. So let's make it 50 pixels. So the same occurs, right? And for a next thing, we can declare the size of each margin, like the top one, the right one, the bottom, and the left one, separately in this margin attribute. So illustrate that, let me uncomment this flex box, like flex container, okay, this class, and I'm just copying this and pasting this again. So now you can see so now let me change this name, box 3, and this is box 4. Now you can see 4 boxes. Okay, so to make you understand this, first let me remove this margin property, so it becomes as a single box, right? So now this margin, this is also called as margin collapse property, okay, but the attribute is like margin only. So for top, let's make 10 pixel, and the next one is right, like top, right, bottom, and left. Okay, so for right, let's make 30 pixels, and for bottom, let's make 50 pixels, and for left, let's make 0 right now. Okay, so now you can see, let's make this bottom to also to 0. So this is high top. Okay, so you can't visualize here, so just see here, we got a gap of 10 pixels, and in the right we got 30 pixels, and bottom 0, and finally the left also 0. So what if I change the left to 30 pixels? You can choose 10 pixels, you can choose 250 pixels, whatever you want you can do, right? So it's moving the same, like you can make this to 50 pixels. Okay, also the margin property not only works in the pixels range, you can also use the percentage, like 50 percentage. So now we come to the center of the whole page, right? I recommend not to use this 50 percentage and all in the margin session, because it will not be okay with it, but you can use it when you are using the height and width property. Okay, next coming to the padding. So with this itself I can show you the padding. So now see, this box 1, box 2 text are in the edges, right? So consider you are doing a padding of 50 pixels. Let's use 50. See, all the size has been made a thing, like made a space, but it's within the container. So this is called padding. And for margin, it made the outside of the container. That's margin. So like margin, it also have 4 properties, like the top, right, bottom, and left. So let's choose 50 pixels and 50 pixels and 20 pixels and 20 pixels. You can see a change. Okay, this is the padding. You can use like when creating some background. You can do this by doing something when you are really need to do this. Padding and margin are mostly important thing. Okay, so do this by practice. On it's a trial and error method. Like you can't determine, like if you want to make this to come here, and you can choose this like 50 pixels, and it's not a great thing, right? So you can do this by trial and error method so that you can make it. Next, coming to that topic, height and width. So this is the height and width property. So you can use pixels or cm stand layer for centimeters, I think so. But it's really a big thing, right? So anyway, mostly we'll be using pixels for sizing, or we'll be using percentage, like 10 percentage. So this percentage is based on the parent div. Like in our case, the dot flex is the parent div. So let's make it height of 100 pixels, or let's make it 300 pixels. And I just, so this box is lying here due to the padding. So let's remove padding too. So now we can see the actual size, right? And if I change it to 30 pixel, if I change it to 30 percentage, you can see a little more big box, right? So whenever the major div, let me make you understand by giving a color to the parent div. Okay, or else you can choose the 100 percentage. So right click on the web page and click on inspect and click on this icon, and you just resize it. See, now the box size inside this blue box size is also getting reduced, right? Based on the size of the external box. So this is the property of the height and width. The width also follows the same, like you can do the same. Okay, the 50 pixels width. And we also have a property called min height and min width. So this is nothing but if you're doing like this and you're viewing in a really small display. So see, this isn't good, right? This box one and this one came down. So in order to avoid it, you have to make a min width. Like you can give 150px or something related to that. Yeah, I think I had given 8 min width. Now you can see it's little bigger, right? So you can change it to 100 pixels or 75 pixels is enough. No, 75 isn't enough. So let's change it to 80. Yeah, now it's good, right? So below 80% it won't go. Also, if you want to specify the maximum height or maximum width, you can choose max width of 150 pixels, or we can choose like 300 pixels. Whatever you can do, it's up to you. Okay, the same applies for the height too. Let's just min height of 500 pixels right now, and this won't work, right? So let's delete it, and let's declare a max height of max height 250 pixels. And this also won't work because the minimum height is 500 pixel and the maximum height is 250 pixels, so it will not work properly. So we must change this. Let's change it to 50 pixels. So whenever the size is being elongated, it won't cross this 250 pixels. Okay. So that's all guys. I think I had completed everything. The CSS margin property. So the CSS margin property is a property which works outside a container, that is outside of our div, like to make it to a specific position. So next, the CSS padding property. This is nothing but the space given inside the container or div to make the text or some interior container of the child container to get placed in somewhere. And finally, the CSS height and width. This determines the height and width of the container or else the button and so on. Okay, that's all guys for today's video. Do like, share and subscribe, and if you have any doubts, comment in the comment section, and if you have any queries related to this video, do DM us on Instagram. Bye bye guys, see you all on next video.